Happy Friday Eve. What's going on YouTube? This is Diamond Hands Dave coming at you with another video. And today was a red day. I had a bit of a red day today. And, it happens. Red days happen. I've had a string of red days, honestly, to be honest with you. For the past couple weeks, maybe a couple green days interspersed here and there. But honestly, I've had a pretty wicked red streak, and probably 70% of it is self-induced, self-inflicted, just by over trading, not taking my trades level to level, and oversizing. But I do want to say I am progressing. I can feel that I'm progressing. Even though my P&L doesn't reflect it, I can definitely sense a progression in my trading. And that kind of sucks because as traders, we tend to measure ourselves based on our P&L, but we are not our P&L. We are more than the P&L. But I think a lot of the times we all get caught up in that because that's the easily measurable thing, readily available thing that we measure our success with. Because it provides us security and it provides us obviously money and all that. So, but basically, yeah, today, so I'm self-reflecting, and there's definitely days where I overtraded, took trades that were not part of my setup, totally 100% aware of that. And I deserve to lose on those days, and I deserve to have losing trades for the trades that I go outside of my plan. Totally understandable. But then there are other trades. I wanna talk real talk here. There have definitely been a majority of days where I've taken my setup, like the signal occurs, I take the setup, and the market instantly just goes against me the second I take the trade. And I'm not exaggerating. Like there have been like, I can literally count like a handful of trades, at least maybe 20 to 50 trades that I've taken over the past month where it was a valid setup and the signal was there and I wasn't being, crazy or anything. I took what I was supposed to take. I did what I was supposed to do, and the market just instantly reverses. Instantly. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in this. I'm sure this is happening to everybody, but clearly we're in a state of heightened volatility. We're in a state of, depending on the day, but overall we're definitely in higher volatility than we were during the summer, which is great. But when these conditions occur, you gotta size down, and I think this is something that I'm still struggling with because I'm still used to the low volatility and thinking, I can get in full size and it's going to move my direction instantly and we're going to have a winning trade. No, conditions have changed. You can't, or at least you shouldn't, get in full size if these are the conditions. If price is like hammering against you the second you get in, then maybe you shouldn't be getting in with 10 micros or whatever it is. Obviously I've sized down a lot since then. I'm currently trading 5 micros based on the funded account that I'm on right now. I'm trading a funded futures funded account, which took a bit of a hit on today. And honestly, this account has slowly just been receding. And really, it's my fault that it's been receding. Nobody else's fault. Again, like I said, as traders, we have to take responsibility for our actions because we're the ones that are pressing the button. But yeah, I guess these are not the conditions where we can just get in full size. Like we have to, at least for me, I'm going to scale in 1-2 micros, feel out the market. If it starts to go against me instantly, then I'll wait, see how the market shakes out, and then get in with the rest of my position. And I feel like, I don't know if a lot of you guys do this, or gals, I don't know if anybody else does this, but you tend to whenever you take a losing trade or a bad trade or have a losing day, you sort of internally crap on yourself. Like you're like, oh, how could I do this? How could I take this trade? How could I have overtraded? How could I have oversized? Blah, blah, blah. And you start to blame yourself for all the bad things that you've done wrong, right? You start to say, oh, well, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. Oh, if only I would have done that. If only I would have done this. And I think it's not really fair. So I'm going to say, yeah, there's definitely instances where that's warranted because you got to learn, you got to reflect, and you got to get better. But honestly, the majority of days when I'm actually going back and reflecting on it, I can confidently say, like, I shouldn't be crapping on myself that much, if at all, to be honest with you, because when I reflect and I think back on the trades that I took, I think about them and I'm like, that was valid. Those are all valid setups. Those are valid signals. I wasn't doing anything wrong. In fact, I was doing what I was supposed to do. So why am I, being really hard on myself? Why am I crapping on myself for doing what I'm supposed to do? And then for some reason, I'm flipping it against myself and saying that I did something bad. No, I did good. Now, aside from maybe managing my risk better or cutting my losing trade quicker, yeah, that I could definitely do better on. I think we could all agree on that. And as far as risk management goes, we could always improve on risk management, right? But as far as taking the trade, recognizing the setup, taking the trade, the fact that the market instantly hammers against you or instantly goes against you the second you get in, and all of a sudden you're in like a negative $100 drawdown or whatever the case is, that's not your fault. That's the market being the market. So you shouldn't, you didn't do anything wrong with that. Like, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You waited for the setup, you got the signal, and you took it. So don't crap on yourself if it goes against you, depending on the market context and depending on how price is moving, you might actually just want to hold. And there have been a decent number of trades where I got in, the market goes against me instantly, and I waited, I waited, and the market came back to my entry and it ended up working in my favor. But there are also times where it doesn't. It just continues to go lower and lower or higher if you're shorting. And then you have to get out because you can only, it hits your maximum risk and you got to get out. Yeah, those trades are in both scenarios. Those trades are valid, It sucks, yeah, that if you get in, if you see the setup and you end up having to get in multiple times because that happens, and then you end up over trading as a result of that, yeah, that sucks. And I probably wouldn't recommend doing it more than 2 to 3 times. But, that's trading. It's like you'll see your setup and it's valid and you take it and it goes against you, so you get out, but it's still valid. So you get in again, goes against you again, you get out, because again, you have risk parameters, but the setup is still available. You take it again. So it's that kind of cycle. So it's like, at that point, it's like, I can't really get down on myself too hard because the setup is available. Maybe I'm getting into earlier. Maybe, the market just needs to shake out or whatever the case is. But as far as I'm concerned, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, it sucks that my equity is going down, but I'm managing my risk as best as I can. I'm waiting as best as I know how, and I'm taking the setup, and I'm waiting. I'm getting the signal, and I'm taking the setup. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Again, you get out, and if it presents again, you just keep taking it, right? That's what it is. That's trading. If you see your setup, you take it. You don't tell yourself, oh, well, the last one was a loser, so I should not take this one because this might also be a loser. No, you can't do that. Every time you see your setup and you get the signal to take the trade, take the trade. Because it could be the one that looks absolutely awful to you that ends up being the monster trade. And that's actually what Mark Douglas emphasizes. It's like the trade that looks the most uncomfortable to you might be the best trade you take, So how am I progressing? What I'm realizing is before, I could confidently say a year ago, even when I started, I was blowing through accounts. I was blowing through capital. But now I am noticing that I am surviving better. I'm surviving a bit more. You know, I'm not going through capital, I'm not going through accounts as quick as I was. I'm holding out much longer, which is great, you know? And that's, I think, ultimately like the success of a trader. And it's not to have green streaks or winning days, you know, every single day, or winning trades every single day. No, I think what I'm starting to realize is that the pinnacle, maybe not the pinnacle, but like to get to where you want to be as a trader, I think the goal is to survive for as long as possible. You know, I think that's the realization that I'm coming to, at least, is that if you can hold out for as long as possible, if you can survive for as long as possible, maybe you're in a really bad drawdown, maybe the account is like, you know, 75% gone, or whatever the case is. But the fact that you're still in the game and you're still holding on, there is a chance for you to come back. As long as you have that chance of holding on, like you're still in the game and you're not out, you're still hanging on for dear life. Maybe you have a shoestring margin or whatever it is, as Jesse Livermore says. You can survive. Like you can still continue. Like honestly, in the beginning, when people were touting this phrase, "Oh, live to trade another day, live to trade another day," I was like, yeah, whatever, yeah, it makes sense. But now I am starting to understand and live by that. It's like, yes, I should be living to trade for another day. I should cut my losses here and live to trade another day, because the longer I can survive, the more likely I'm going to be available to take the setups that could be monsters. And that's what I want to be available for. I want to be available for those trades that are going to make up for my 10, 20, 30 losing trades that have brought my account to like a minus, you know, 35% drawdown, whatever the case is, you know. That's what ultimately all of us as traders should be focusing on. Surviving the drawdown to get to the setups that will make up for all of your past losers. So that was tonight's wisdom. Hopefully you guys gleaned something from it. I know I did. Anyways, tomorrow's Friday. If you're up on the week, just take it easy, man. Just, you know, there's no reason to be risking anything. If you've done well during the week, there's always another week. There's always another month. So take it slow, be patient, and I'll see you guys in another one. Peace.